Listen, there will come a day when you have no more time left on this earth. I've been to tons of funerals, and I've been by the bedside of many a person who died, and they have never once said, I wish I could have worked a little bit more. I wish I could have gone fishing one more time. Most people, when they die with much more than people sitting around them. They die with every dream and every vision and every goal and every aspiration they had for doing something big for God. A Christian always seems to die with, what if I would have done a little bit more for the Lord on their lips. Your last day on earth is approaching sooner than you realize. And beloved, what do you have to show for it? Your house? A decent retirement account? A family? A college degree? Nothing's wrong with it. It's all nice. But outside of having a good godly family and leaving a great legacy with your children, you're not going to get any crowns in heaven for working a little bit of extra overtime on Saturday and for driving a nicer car than the guy next door. And to make an impact for God means that you're going to have to decide that making a living is going to be secondary, while making a godly legacy becomes your primary focus. Think about this for one moment. Paul told a young Timothy in the last chapter of his last epistle, his last words, he pretty much is saying this: I have fought a good fight, I have finished my course, I have kept the faith. We say we want to fight a good fight, but we ignore Ephesians 6:10 that tells us, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. We live daily according to his strength, not ours, and his grace, not our desires, because it's his strength and grace that divinely empower us, because the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. And when Paul says, I finished my course, he's saying, I ran my race, but I didn't just do it for the crowd's reaction, but I did it to finish strong, because he ran with a purpose, and he ran with a plan, and he ran with preparation, and he ran with persistence, and he ran with the push of wanting to labor exclusively for his king. He even said, when I was a tent maker, I did it so I could have a furtherance of the gospel. And so many of us want to live the life of Paul, but we won't even set our alarm clock to get alone with God a little bit more in the morning time. When Paul says, I kept the faith, he's reminding Timothy of all that he encountered, and how all of it, both the good times and the bad times, made him who he was. Some of us in here today, you need to stop running from your past, and you need to realize that your past is in the past. It's made you who you are today, and you're where you are at today because you have chosen to be there. He allowed God to have his way with him. Listen to what he wrote to the church of Corinth in his second epistle to Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 11:21 through 33. He says, I speak as concerning reproach as though we had been weak, howbeit whereinsoever any is bold, I speak foolishly, I am bold also. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. Are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more in labors, more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in deaths oft. Of the Jews 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. Thrice was I beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day I have been in the deep. In journeyings often, in perils of waters, in perils of robbers, in perils of by mine own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren, in weariness, in painfulness, in watchings often, in hunger and thirst, in fastings often, in cold and nakedness, beside those things that are without, that which cometh upon me daily, the care of all the churches. Who is weak, and I am not weak? Who is offended, and I burn not? If I must needs glory, I will glory of the things which concern mine infirmities. The God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, which is blessed forevermore, knoweth that I lie not. And in Damascus, the governor under Aretas, the king, kept the city of Damascene with a garrison, desirous to apprehend me. And through a window in a basket was I let down by the wall and escaped his hands. You want God's touch? You want God's power? You want a ministry that excels? That no matter what happens to you, you be like Paul, who says in verse number 33, and through a window in a basket was I let down by the wall and escaped his hands. What does it say? He's saying, hey, do you remember when I first started out? How only a few people believed in me. I was in their basket. And you might be in here today and you don't know which way you're going. You don't know your left hand from your right hand. The devil is attacking you so hard. Don't forget about those that believe in you this morning. Beloved, you need to focus on leaving a legacy for Christ, not living a life centered on yourself. It's not about you. It's all about Him. Friends are going to let you down. Just like Demas, who forsook Paul, having loved what? This present world. And what happened? He let him down. Don't you let your preacher down. Don't you let your Sunday school teacher down. Don't you let the missionaries down. Don't you let your children down. Don't you let the bus route workers down. Because family will sooner or later turn their back on you. When you tell them you're called to serve, they're the first ones to make fun of you. But don't be a crybaby and get bitter. Listen, if nobody believes in you, listen, they don't have to believe in you because it's not their calling. It's your calling. God called you. He didn't call your neighbor. He didn't call your buddy at work. He didn't call your mama and your papa. God called you. You need to believe in your calling. Not everybody's going to listen. Not everybody's going to invest in you. Not everybody will have the same burdens as you. But your job as a believer, your job as a child of God is to make much of God, whether or not men make much of you. Wake up earlier and pray longer. Study the Bible deeper. Support your pastor wholeheartedly. Get involved in this church. Be the first one for soul winning and the last one to leave. And when God speaks to you, don't just listen. You need to respond. Give to Him what it is that He desires most. You say, what's that, Brother Steve? Give Him a life surrendered wholly and fully to Him.